Welcome back, Kent Adams, Spokane Talks Live, and we are live, and we have Robin Haynes.
Yes.
And I said your name correctly, and we were joking about whether I'd say Hayes or Haynes. I said it correctly, but when I said, see if I can remember, I think, what was your response?
Been about 50-50.
Yeah. In the other room, Kevin is saying, not having hope, you know, here, not, you know.
Everybody's against you today. I don't know what's going on.
Welcome to my, it's like being at home, okay? Hey, from McNeice Wheeler, I don't know why I stumbled over that. Yeah. Yeah. In my ear, I'm getting from the director and producer, and they're saying, "Well, you didn't say that right." So I get your name correct, and I don't do McNeice Wheeler correct.
We'll figure it out.
All right. So sue me.
I'll be back.
Oh, okay. Hey, Robin. Now you have a new title coming up, don't you?
Almost. October 29th, I get sworn in as the president of the Washington State Bar. So I take over officially October 1.
Okay. And you follow another Spokaneite, don't you?
Bill Hislop, and I had my first presidential duty. I signed all these certificates for members of the Bar Association who've actively practiced for 50 years.
Oh, nice.
Including a number of Spokane lawyers in that list.
Now, did you have to help Bill with his walker or anything?
Oh!
He's getting, no, I'm kidding. I've known Bill for years. I haven't seen him for a while, but good guy.
He's spending a lot of time in Seattle right now.
Yeah. Well, tell me, what's it like to know you have that responsibility coming and to be second in a row from Spokane? That's kind of fun, isn't it? It
is kind of fun. I'm also the youngest person to ever have the job.
Really?
And I believe I'm the youngest bar president in any state ever.
Really?
And I'm not that young. And I am the 5th woman in Washington also.
Okay, great.
So it feels like a burden.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay, well, we'll just see how you perform here. I'm taking notes.
That's
no,
right,
I'm
thank you.
kidding. We wanted to talk today, Robin, about employees and their use of social media.
Right.
And I'm going to guess, I mean, that's the note I have. I'm going to guess because it affects employees as they apply.
Yep.
Through including work, right?
Absolutely.
And so what are some of the rules? And it's amazing, I hear these anecdotal stories about, what do you mean they looked at me up on social media? Because I told them I was, you know, a great sports guy, and it shows me smoking something or whatever, you know what I mean? So it does have meaning today, doesn't it?
It does. Well, first of all, we talked about marijuana is not illegal last time I was here, and someone's doing it recreationally outside their home, whatever. That said, you know, during the hiring process, it is permissible to look someone up. If you're doing any further kind of backgrounding work, you have to advise the employee you're going to look them up, but that's usually for things like credit reports and that kind of thing where you sign off when you apply.
Right.
But everyone does a Google search, whether people admit to it or not. And honestly, if you're an potential employee and you're too stupid, is probably the best word.
Why don't you say it directly?
That's right. If you're too stupid to have your social media account on private, if you don't want a potential employer to see it, or to have certain things that you don't want to share with your potential employer private, you should probably expect that could be used against you. That also comes into play sometimes now with college graduates and or high school graduates applying for college.
Okay.
So what an employer...
So it really is going through the system, isn't it?
What an employer cannot do, though, is they cannot ask you for your password to your social media. They cannot ask you to list your social media accounts when you're applying.
Unless you're a presidential candidate and you ask those who want to be your vice president.
That's right.
You know what I'm talking about.
There are a few different rules there, I believe, in play than what's going on in the state of Washington.
Right.
And then it gets a little tricky from there, depending on how you can use your social media. As you know, McNeice Wheeler has a very active social media presence. You can find us on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and a number of other places. So we have a firm account for each of those.
Right.
That's managed by Ryan. If you see how much he posts, you can guess how much he works. But
well, I was going to bring up that point. Yes.
And we, as a firm, tend to just share that information on our personal social medias, or we treat some social media as personal and some as not. So I treat my LinkedIn and my Twitter as kind of my professional account. So I share things that way. I don't share as much on my personal Facebook, for example.
Right.
But as far as that's fine for an employer to post those kinds of things. They don't really have to ask your permission to do it in most settings.
Okay.
Where it becomes problematic is when employees start posting things on their personal social media that may be anti their employers, let's say.
Right.
If I come in
or they diss their previous employee.
And that's just a poor choice.
Yes.
But in terms of if you're a current employer and your producer starts saying Kent is just really difficult to work with, for example. Yeah. It's, we're getting some feedback from the booth.
Yes, we are. It goes without saying, is what Kevin said.
You generally don't have any protection against that. And that's particularly relevant if you work in a union business. The National Labor Relations Board, the NLRB, for those employment lawyers out there, has issued a lot of rulings in the last couple of years about social media and how social media can be a way for union members to organize.
Okay.
And so that's protected speech in a sense. And really, saying someone was a jerk is an opinion.
Okay.
But if you are in a position where you have confidential information, like you're a lawyer, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
And I share confidential information about a client on my social media, well, not only is my employer going to come after me, but the state bar is going to come after me.
Right.
And that's a letter you don't want to receive.
Particularly awkward being the chairman, the chairperson, right?
Yeah, the president.
President, okay. All right.
It would be very problematic. Other areas where we see some problems, we've seen some lawsuits about this, is where employees, like medical providers, will post photos of someone at like an ER who's passed out and those kinds of things. You will get fired.
Yes.
You're violating HIPAA. You're violating another set of state statutes. So that's really where that goes. Where employers can control an employee's social media content is through things like non-competes. We've talked about that before. They can't push proprietary information about the company, whether it's protected by a specific law or not.
Okay.
So if they're subject to a non-compete, they can't share that. You can also dictate what your employee puts on social media if the social media account is a company account. So like, like if you're a news reporter. You would think
so, right.
If you're a news reporter and it's your official Q6 KXOY CREM news account versus your personal account, you cannot then use that to put out information about I don't like my employer, or to reveal sources, or to put information that would be outside of your employment policy. So the employer has complete control over that.
Right.
I would say for employers who have done searches on employees, do not bring it up in your interview. Do not print a photo. Do not come in and say,
and put it on the table and say, what's this about?
Tell me about this. Yeah. Just a bad policy, and you run into the area where you may potentially be discriminating against someone for a protected issue, like a medical issue, if they have glaucoma, for example, and they were smoking something, or they're a member of a protected class. You don't want to run that risk that you're doing something innocuous, trying to make sure you're getting the right team member for your company. That leads you to litigation.
Oh, okay.
And also, this is something that's happened a couple of times, don't create fake accounts and try to friend your new potential hire.
Okay.
Happens a lot. It's happened
really?
in litigation. Lawyers have attempted to friend jurors a couple times, which is a whole other issue problematic. That will get you disbarred.
Yes.
If not a number of other things. So those kinds of things are always to be careful. So if you do have a social media policy in your employer, keep it drafted very tight and do not go out of the realm, and educate your HR personnel, educate your management about if, when, and how you can reach out to private social media.
And if they have questions, they ought to talk to someone like you.
That's right. They should talk to an employment lawyer. I am one of those.
Okay.
At McNeice Wheeler, you can find us all over social media. McNeice Wheeler, as it's normally spelled, .com, 509-928-4141.
You just know the routine as we close out, don't you?
I know the drill now.
Yeah. Thank you, Robin Haynes.
Thank you.
Did I do that right?
Perfect.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I guess we get to see Ryan next week.
I think that's right.
That's really scary. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Don Morgan and Morgan's Minute after this.
Perfect.
For the Inland Northwest most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with spokesman.com.